Hello, dear friend, and welcome to another astrology tutorial. Today, we are gonna talk about the houses in the horoscope, and more specifically, how you can analyze one house and how you can get all the information in the chart and how to interpret that, of course. So for the purposes of this reading, for the purposes of this tutorial, I will use one chart and I will share my screen so that you can follow along with me. And if you want to use the same birth chart calculator, you can go to my website, marstars.net. You can follow the links in the description and of course use the birth chart calculator completely free. So first of all, what are the houses actually? The houses are related to concrete life areas. So there is a difference between the planets and the houses because the planets, they are kind of like related to, they might be related to concrete life areas, but also they bring concrete qualities. Whereas when we talk about houses, they are more related to what's really happening. It's not so much about our personal characteristics or qualities. They show on which areas we are focused, also which areas of our lives are connected with each other. I will show you how you can find those connections. And they are related also to the general potential regarding different life areas, what we can achieve, what are the potential challenges we need to overcome. And I chose this chart to show you basically how we do those interpretations, because there are different components which we need to include here. And first of all, what we need to start is, first of all, to check which is the sign on the cusp of the house. So let's pick fourth house in this chart, and I will show you how we do that. So we are going to explore, we are going to analyze the fourth house in this horoscope. Fourth house is related to the family environment. It's about the atmosphere at home. In my opinion, this is the house that's related also to the connection with our mother in most cases. It's rare. Sometimes it could be the father figure if he has been kind of like the nurturing parent and so on. But for most people, fourth house is related to the mother and overall circumstances at home, what's the atmosphere. On a deeper psychological level, this is also the inner child. These are our emotional needs, and this is also the basis or the foundation that we have in our life, and the connection with the roots, with ancestors and other relatives. So how we interpret this house, I will show you an example and you can apply the same principles for each house. Each of the 12 houses are related to different life areas, but the principles that we use are absolutely the same. So we always start with the sign on the cusp. The cusp is like the beginning, the very beginning of the house. It's a very powerful, you can imagine it as a door of energy. And the sign is activated by this cusp of the house. So for this person, this is the horoscope of a man, by the way. For this man, we see that he has Scorpio on the cusp of fourth house. The basics, if you are brand new to astrology, is just to interpret the element. I have a free training which will show you how you can create a psychological profile using astrology, and there I talk about the element. So if you're brand new, I highly recommend you to check this free webinar. Links are below as well. So we start with the element and the sign. So water element. The water element will bring us sensitivity, emotional connection, and even energetical and psychological connection. All of that is happening with the family. So we can say that the person has a deep emotional connection, psychological and even energetical connection with the family, and especially with the mother. Scorpio is even more emotional than the other signs, and it brings more intensity. Sometimes it could be such a strong connection with the family and the mother that it's kind of difficult to cut the psychological cord. So we can expect that there is a very strong, intense emotional connection with the family, not necessarily simple. With Scorpio, things are usually black and white. People very often don't like to admit so much the dark side, and sometimes even it takes time for them to admit there might be some kind of issues, but usually there are. With Scorpio, you can expect that there are certain issues. There might be some secrets or something which is quite emotionally triggering and really charged for the person. So that's what we can explore, we can understand from the sign how the person reacts, what are the needs. So we see that the main thing he needs is emotional connection, intense emotional connection with the family. If this was an earth sign, we can say, okay, he needs more stability. If this was an air sign, we can say, oh, he needs more communication and interaction. With the water signs, emotional connection, security, also emotional security is important. Then we check the planets which are in this house, and you will see that in some cases there are empty houses, and that's perfectly fine, of course. And a very common question I hear is, okay, so if I don't have any planets in this house, does it mean that nothing will happen there? For example, no planets in seventh house, does that mean I won't get married? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, because the next element is what will give you the answer. But if you have planets in this house, they are also bringing their influence to this particular area of your life. In this case, we have Saturn and Uranus. First thing you can do is explore the nature of those planets. So, first of all, Saturn, it's not an easy planet to be in fourth house, because Saturn, it's about boundaries, it's about restrictions, it's about limitations, and all of that this person will likely experience in their family and their connection with family members. So Saturn in fourth house can bring something which is not very kind of common, or at least it's not like a natural connection. But at home, this person might experience limitations, restrictions. There might be boundaries or distance between the family members. So overall, not a very harmonious connection. Then you can also check how strong is the planet in this particular sign, especially if we talk about the first seven planets. So excluding the outer planets. For Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, we don't analyze their strength based on the sign they're in, but for the other seven planets, we definitely do that. So with Saturn in Scorpio, we can say that Saturn is not strong there. Saturn is kind of weak, actually. It gets 2 points out of 6 in Scorpio. So not a harmonious position for Saturn in Scorpio. And it's also, I would say, kind of cruel. Saturn in Scorpio can be very cruel and emotionally can be very limiting and restricting and bringing lots of challenges. So we can say that even though the person has the need for some kind of emotional connection with the mother, with the family, probably there are some kind of limitations that he is facing with, and there might be lots of rules in the house, in the family. Or sometimes with Saturn in fourth house, one of the family members might be missing, or it might feel kind of lonely at home. Then we also see that we have Uranus in this fourth house. So for the outer planets, we don't pay attention to the sign. The sign won't make the outer planet strong or weak for this person. There are other indications that we use for outer planets. So we don't pay attention to the sign, but we have to pay attention that Uranus is in fourth house. Uranus in fourth house can bring changes, can bring lots of variety, some kind of interesting, untraditional environment, or a mother who is kind of very open-minded, sometimes a little strange, also can be emotionally distant, and something untypical can happen in this family. So they might be just kind of different, or sometimes Uranus in fourth house may also show that there is like distance between the parents, or they literally break up. So it's possible that the family may not live together. And overall, we can say that for this person, it's not easy to fulfill his needs when it comes to family environment and home. Why? Because he has both Saturn and Uranus in fourth house, which are completely different. Saturn wants the stability, certainty, reliability. Uranus wants adventures, changes, variety. So it kind of looks like the person has two really different needs, and chances are that probably one of them will be kind of impossible because it just doesn't match really well with the other one. Or the other possibility is that the person finds a creative way to really combine those two necessities. So we pay attention to the planets. Which are those planets? How strong are they in this house? And we also pay attention to the aspects that those planets have. And if you need, you can use this table here, which will show you the aspects. For example, we can see that Uranus has sextile with the Sun and squares with Venus and Mars. This is also helping us to understand the way that this Uranus will manifest, the energy that it will bring. We can say that Mars squaring Uranus can bring some kind of confrontations, lots of impulsive reactions, some kind of struggles with the family members. So overall, this brings some kind of disharmonious energy. On top of that, Venus also has a square with Uranus, which can bring some kind of emotional, it could be frustration, it could be, like too many surprises or emotionally shocking events within the family. Or literally, there could be lots of changes for this family. And what's interesting is that we can check also which are the houses that Mars and Venus are ruling, because it will show us some possible connections. And we see that Venus is ruling third house and 10th house as well. Mars is ruling ninth and also fourth house. So third and ninth house triggered with fourth house. This can be a connection showing us that the person will travel a lot and they might change their location, their place of living. They might relocate. A very common situation when we have those connections between fourth, third, and ninth house. This may also be kind of an impulsive decision, and also can bring lots of changes in their personal life, including career changes, because Venus rules 10th house. Another possibility is that for career purposes, and things related to money and finances, the person may decide to relocate. They find another job which brings them more money, and because of that, they need to relocate. That's how we make those connections. Okay, we also said that Uranus has a sextile with the Sun. This is a positive aspect. Another connection between fourth and third house also showing us the person may move and relocate. And also, this is generally a positive aspect for communication with family members, maybe learning something from them, or maybe even living together with friends, because the Sun in third house is related to fourth house. The Sun is ruling the ascendant, so it's personally important. This could be also a personal choice for him to live together with friends. Okay, and then we also, what else did we have here? We said Uranus. Okay, karmic aspect with Pluto. So this may also show some kind of interesting situations with the family history and sometimes serious changes at home, transformations related to the home environment. Then we need to check Saturn. Saturn doesn't have major aspects, only minor aspects, square and a half with the moon. Another indication which shows that the family environment might be a little problematic, or the parents might be separated very often when Saturn and the moon have a challenging aspect. Saturn is also in fourth house. We have like double indications that it's possible the parents to be divorced. And by the way, that's what's the real situation. The parents have divorced early in the person's life. We have also creative aspects with Jupiter and with Neptune. So with Jupiter, the aspect can bring potential changes, again, related to work. So Jupiter is in sixth house, and Saturn in fourth house, and there is a creative aspect. Creative aspects bring changes and choices we can make. So we can say that the person can change their home because of career changes. If you remember, we already had a couple of those indications before, so it only confirms that the person may change his place of living because of work, because of career. Okay, so I'm reminding you again, we are starting from the sign on the cusp of the house. We check, are there any planets there? We analyze the nature of those planets. Is it Saturn? Is it Venus? They will bring their individual energy and their impact. We check also the aspects of those planets. Generally, are they harmonious or disharmonious? For example, for this Uranus, we can say it's mostly disharmonious. Yes, there is a positive connection with the Sun, which can help the situation, but the squares with Mars and Venus are kind of stressful. So sudden changes and impulsive decisions and some kind of emotional frustration related to the family and home environment is absolutely on the table. Saturn kind of better, even though there is a minor challenging aspect with the moon, but still Saturn is in Scorpio, which is not a comfortable position. So Saturn may also bring its limitations. Then we analyze the ruler of the house. The ruler of the house is basically the ruler of the sign which is on the cusp of this house. So in this case, we have Pluto, and the old ruler is Mars. They rule Scorpio. And what we do is, first of all, explore the sign position. Is it a strong sign position? And what kind of aspects this planet has, and also in which house it is. For Pluto, because this is an outer planet, I wouldn't consider the sign position. It wouldn't make it strong or weak, in my opinion. We don't use that. So we check the aspects, and here is Pluto. We can go to the table as well. And we see that Pluto has a couple of aspects actually, trine with the moon, which is a very nice aspect. And it only confirms that there is a very strong connection with the mother. Pluto with the moon can bring this type of deep emotional, energetical connection with her. Also, there is a semi-square with Venus. So changes, some kind of emotional frustration is possible, some kind of there could be jealousy, there could be some kind of drama that Venus with Pluto can bring. Also, we have square with Jupiter. It means that there might be it's like the person works hard on something or spends a lot of time to create something in this area, and then they can destroy all of it. That's kind of typical for Pluto Jupiter challenging aspects. Growing, expanding, developing something, and at a certain point you just come and destroy it. So it's possible that the person may create a family, create a home environment, and at certain point he may decide that it's no longer in alignment with his goals, so he can drastically change it. Drastically. Okay, again, we see connection between career and home, by the way. Jupiter is in sixth house, squaring the ruler of fourth house. There might be a home change because of career. Another indication. Okay, we have a nonagon between Pluto and Uranus. So Uranus is in fourth house. Pluto is the ruler of fourth house. This can show also drastic changes, sometimes unexpected situations, and again, possibility for traveling and moving. And finally, this aspect that most of us have who are born in the 19th century, the sextile between Pluto and Neptune, which is a positive one, of course, and it can show some potential for creativity, which can be kind of inherited, in my opinion. Neptune is in fifth house with Pluto, the ruler of fourth house. So I don't have information about that. I know the person likes art and actually they play music, but I don't know if this is related to his family. But I suspect that it's actually inherited because of this aspect. Okay, and also we can see that Pluto is in conjunction with the South Node. So we can say that there is the South Node is related to the past, related to our previous experiences, and it's definitely showing a very serious, very deep connection with the roots, with the family, and with their mother. So this is the third element. The first one was the sign, then the planets in the house, then the ruler of the house, and we have the last element. Those are the aspects between the planets and the cusp of the house, and you can find those in the right table. So I see this is the cusp of fourth house, imum celli. It comes from Latin, and you just check here where are the aspects. So we have sextile between Venus and Mars, which are very positive. Karmic aspect, this is a binonagon between Jupiter and fourth house, and minor challenging aspect, semi-square between Neptune and the cusp of fourth house. Those are the planets which are affecting fourth house. We need to explore them as well. And this is something that many people overlook or they don't know about, but it's extremely important. Those aspects are also defining the circumstances in this particular life area or this house. Venus with Mars This is a beneficial, positive energy, which can actually bring more harmony, can make the person more active with Mars, or taking care of family, or doing things. Sometimes it could even be working at home with Mars. Also in second house, it could be like earning their money, and it could be related also to properties with this combination. But overall, it's a harmonizing positive connection. Also, Jupiter, karmic aspect with fourth house, this can bring some kind of changes. It could be some kind of frustration or changing their goals related to home and family. Again, we have some connection with the work, which can affect this area. And finally, Neptune, semi-square with between the cusp of fourth house and Neptune. This may show that a grandparent, usually a grandmother, has taken care of the person, has played an important role, or sometimes it could be taking care of someone at home who is kind of weak or sick, or just being very sensitive towards the family environment, the home environment. And it actually adds even more emotion here. One thing we also need to mention here is also where is the ruler of the house. So we said it's Pluto, we checked the aspects, we didn't actually check the house. So the house will show you mutual connection. So the ruler of fourth house in third house, like in this chart, shows that there is a connection between those two houses, fourth and third house. This can show that the person can move, can travel, can relocate. They may live together with friends or with other relatives who are more kind of distant. So that's how we make those connections. And this may also show that this particular person needs some kind of variety, needs also communication in the family, in the home environment. And that's what we do each time when we analyze certain house. We follow those steps. So the sign on the cusp, are there any planets in the house? The ruler of the house, in which house is this ruler? And all of those planets, what kind of status they have? Are they harmonious? Are they challenging? Are they strong? All of that in combination can give you a very good idea of the environment, of what's happening in this life area. And finally, aspects between the planets and the cusp of the house. Don't forget about this one, very important. The only specificity here is that you need to have a very accurate time of birth. And in my experience, it's only confirmed with birth time rectification. If your chart is not rectified, you can't be sure that the time is really accurate. Even if your mother says she remembers, even if you have your birth certificate, you cannot be sure. So you need birth time rectification if you want to go really deep and really explore those elements, but don't overlook them. They can really give you lots of answers and explanations. And that's how we do with each horoscope and with each house. So I hope this was helpful for you and you can apply it with your chart with different examples. And it might look a little complicated, and I'm not saying it's really simple, but if you want to have a really deep interpretation, you have to be ready to go deep. So that's the situation, my friends. And if you want to learn astrology on this level and be able to understand how it really works, you're welcome to sign up for Mars Stars Astrology Academy. We are opening the doors only once a year, so make sure to sign up for the waitlist so you get notified when doors open. And in Mars Stars Academy, we talk about each of the houses during, how much is that, around 3 months. So we have 3 months dedicated only to the houses, so we really explore them individually. If you have any questions, let me know. Share your experience in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.